Thank you very much. So what can we expect from regulators if we give them the floor? They will speak about regulation and about the market, slightly more optimistically than the previous speaker, but of course with a high degree of caution. I speak Slovene because I have a Slovene public here in front of me, and interpretation is provided for our foreign guests. Market development is a requirement. It is not our wish or will. It is a requirement that needs to be met in different ways as best. We need to meet it as best we can. It is a requirement stated by the Council. We need to develop the market and make it operational across Europe. To refer back to what Professor Glachon said, my optimistic view is not in opposition to what he said with regard to the perspective. It is rather different when it comes to the point how to achieve this goal, how to get there, and to make the picture slightly less dim. The Commission has published a report this year. The reference is on the slide, and this report serves as a basis for the European Parliament resolution. In this report, we can find a number of analyzed goals that have already been reached, but there is also a list of problems that still persist with regard to the market. The second study, also mentioned here on this slide, refers exclusively to the energy markets and the benefits we can draw from these markets. The markets will gradually grow, but they will also be the market will be slightly more limited due to the penetration of renewables. And this study envisages a number of scenarios of renewables development. The study also gives us a very comprehensive reflection on the energy markets existing today. The step-by-step approach that we have adopted years ago led to a number of discrepancies between the regions. Now, how do these regions converge? Again, the answer is step by step, and this is a major drawback. ACER made a report on the market operations in 2011, and it mentioned a number of drawbacks, amongst which is the growing prices. For instance, for 2010, we see there was a 9 to 10% price growth for gas on the average. And the report also mentions a number of other details, a number of other statistical data. But the main point is that the report confirms the very strong role of renewable energy sources on the electricity markets. When it comes to gas, however, this role is considerably lower and less significant. The report for 2012 has not been published yet, but let me mention but two findings, and again we can see that the price for electricity is growing for the same type of users, and the price for gas, the retail price for gas, is growing as well. A number of barriers also exist that prevent market penetration. Target models exist. We are trying to reach the target models, and this model will function. But the question is how. The regulators will contribute their share with the right amount of regulations, adequate regulations, and Acer too will contribute framework guidelines for that. It will contribute towards the preparation and implementation of the network codes, and it will contribute towards the exchange of good practices between the regulators. The regulators themselves, however, will have to increase the monitoring. They will have to identify the drawbacks. They will have to put the customers in the focus, and they will have to assume a very strong role with relation to infrastructure. Now, when I say monitoring, analysis and monitoring, I'm having in mind monitoring in wholesale with relation to the remit regulation and in retail. With the third package, the national regulators assumed investigation and enforcement powers that were not granted to them up until now. Acer does not have these powers. Acer will continue to issue reports and recommendations about the situation on the market, as it did up until now. But we will all try to make our contribution in order to improve the situation of the end users on the market, of the final users. Supposedly they should be protected through transparency measures, through stable and fair rules, and they should also be protected by a number of institutions. This particularly refers to vulnerable final users. And the new market should also offer the best solutions in terms of quality and in terms of price. Not forgetting the energy security, of course. So who is responsible for that? On the national level, that's the national regulators. On the EU level, it's Acer and all those who provide their services on the market. But nothing will be operational without infrastructure. That is why the infrastructure is a precondition for market development. The present infrastructure needs to be used in a better way, and we also need to develop new infrastructure according to our plans, to the lists of projects of common European interest. And again, we have the role of the regulators on both sides, on the Slovenian, on the national side, and on the European side. So the main message is yes, the market, yes to the market, but nothing without the regulators. Thank you.